Hello and welcome to part 2 of the 1/700 scale build of the German battleship Scharnhorst. And in this part we're up to step 3 in the instructions, which I've completed. I'll show you, there's our turret. I'll put a couple of photos up of how I went about doing these brass barrels on here. But yeah, it came up quite good. There's a view of it there. So now this has little slots in either end of where it sits on the ship. Now I've also glued down the deck. I'll show you the deck's all glued down here along with the base. So that's all finished. Now this turret will sit on here. So what it does is it goes, tabs sit in like this. Turn it around, it sort of locks in and it will rotate however, wherever you want it. So, and then you can pull it back out. So I don't need to glue that down. Put that in there. Now, when I checked on the photo etch, there's no photo etch on that turret. Just the brass barrels that were put on. But there is a piece of photo etch that goes all the way around the base of the turret here. And it's this one here. I don't know how we're going to see this, but so there's a strip in there. There's one for this turret, there's one for the turret on the rear, but that's the one we need to put on. The problem is that knowing from previously doing wooden decks, they tend to fit quite tightly around these as you're lowering over where the turret goes. And if I've got photo etch glued on around there, I may have a problem sliding down into position properly. So what that means is that I'll have to leave that photo etch off till after the deck's down, which means I'll have to paint it while it's off before I put it on, or put it on after the deck's down and then paint it while it's on there. It'll be a little bit fiddly, but I'm going to come across a few problems like that. The instructions, where we're at number 3 now, step 3, obviously the photo etch one, these main instructions won't show the photo etch, but the photo etch instructions will. So there's the first turret, and there's the piece of photo etch that goes around the outside, and there'll be one later when we do the third turret, which is further on in the instructions. So other parts, there are these, I think they're called capstans for the anchor chain. They need to go on. Now I haven't looked at the parts yet and what size they are, but if they fit on there and don't overlap and it looks like the decking will fit over the top, then that'll be good. I'll be able to install those. There's 2 pieces to those. There's no photo etch, I've checked for that. There's also the paravane, looks like it sits down on the deck further up. That looks like it'll sit in place and not be in the way of any wood decking, so I'll be able to put that on. There's also a couple of pieces that are going on the side of the ship, on either side. There they are there. So I'll be able to put those on, I think. Yep. There's some pieces up on the deck there, probably not. I'm going to come across a lot of situations where there's a lot of parts that won't be able to fit on there before I put the wood deck down. And the thing is, see, this has to be painted, and all this deck has to be painted the grey that it's going to be, so that when the wood deck does go down, all the little bits that are sticking through will already be painted. Anything that didn't fit will have to be individually painted separately. Okay, so there's some more bits there on the bow, right up there that will probably go on. There's some really tiny spots. In fact, there was two little markers there where a couple of pieces go. I don't know what it is. I couldn't even see it. I had to put my magnifying glasses on, and even then I struggled to see these two tiny little dots where to position this thing. Anyway, okay, so I'll get on with this. So any parts that in this step that won't go on now, I will still take them off the sprue and put them in my little container here marked with step 3. So I'll do that now, and then I will move on and we'll head on to step 4. So, okay, back in a second, we'll show you the progress. Okay, welcome back. And at the moment, it seems like we've got on to step 4 here in the instructions, and we seem to be working on the bridge, and I don't muck around. There's quite a bit of detail and tiny pieces to go on here. We've got searchlights, guns up on there, there's different platforms. So it's all this here. Then we move on to here, we put some more, looks like gun directors. Some more guns around the side. I think there may be some decking that goes up on this area here, so I'll have to just refer to that and just check to make sure we can still put anything on there. And then there's some support areas and other bits there. There's also photo etch on this as well, so refer to here. I'm going to find there's photo etch bits in here. This is extremely tiny stuff. In fact, this is the first time where, as small as the pictures are in the instructions, the actual pieces are smaller than they are represented in the instructions here. For instance, this is the bridge, and there's the windows around the bridge, and yeah, absolutely tiny. And if we compare that to the instructions, that's it there, and there it is there. So it's about less than half the size. The yellow part was a section I had to put on the back of it, which had the 2 doors on there. It was just a piece, a wall. I don't even know why they coloured it yellow, but it had me confused, wondering why that was yellow. But anyway, and then of course there's this section which I haven't glued yet, which will turn that up the other way. That will go, well, like I said, it's not glued, but that'll go on top. So I'm going to keep progressing on and working on these. This will take some time, and we'll come back at different stages as I get this thing built up. Okay, back shortly. Okay, welcome back, and I've got some more of this superstructure tower built. It's taken me quite a long time. There's some amazing photo etch. I'll throw a photo up here and you can have a look at the detail. Yeah, it took quite a while. There's probably, well, I can tell you, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's about 20, yeah, about 20 pieces making up the piece you can see there. And that's not even half done. So we're still on step 4. We've completed this part here. Now we move over to the platform, which has some guns on the very top, which will sit on the top of this. There's also some more. There's still some more bits underneath. There's part of the support brackets, photo etch under there. I'm assuming there'll be quite a bit of photo etch in the top here as well. So I'm going to keep working on this, and as you can see from the photograph, the size, this thing's only half an inch size, so tiny. So okay, we'll be back shortly, and I'm going to take a break for a bit of time today. I might do a bit more this afternoon, but see how I go. Give my eyes a bit of a break, and we'll be back shortly, and we'll have a look at where I'm at. Cheers. Okay, welcome back. I thought I'd just show you what I'm going to do about the paint. I've had a bit of a think about what I'm going to do here. So the suggested colors they have here, there's a light grey, medium grey, deep grey, a whole red, which I won't need. There's a deck brown, and a few other colors here. So what I've decided to try is, I've always used Tamiya or SMS or recently Mr. Hobby paints. But I was just looking online and I came across AK paints, and I found these packs they've just brought out. So this is the Royal Navy Camouflages 1. Now I know I'm building a German ship, but I'm not too concerned about colours as long as they're close to what these are going to be. And so I've decided, I bought this packet, and you can see here, so the colours we have here are whole red. There's a wooden deck, which I won't need, but we'll see. I could actually use this as a wash and maybe use it on the wood deck. There's a deck grey. There's a medium grey there. There's a light grey, and we've got a dark blue. So basically, all the colours I need are in this set. Now these are thinned down with a normal acrylic thinner, and as I was suggested by the person at the shop, about 50-50 is a good amount to do that with. And I've also, while I was there, bought some Sharnhorst black primer. I've always had a thing for this. These are very, very good. I have the white, but I want to use the black, just to bring out that detail a bit more in the shadow areas of when the base coat goes on. So yeah, that's the plan, is to use these colours, and for the colours for the ship, I think they'll look quite good. So anyway, I will continue on with build here. I've still on to step 4, and let me just check. Yeah, so I'm building another platform that connects onto the last part I made, and that'll be this section here. So I'm working through, there's a few guns on there, little bits and pieces, so I'll work onto that, and then fits on top of the other piece you would have seen in that I was working on, and then we'll work on some of the support structures underneath it. So there's a fair bit to go on there. There's also some separate photo etch pieces needed as well. Okay, I'll kick on and move on and do some more of this. I'm not going to get a great deal done today, as here in Sydney in Australia, it's predicted to be about 40 degrees today. Yeah, so that's 40 degrees Celsius, which works out at about 104 Fahrenheit. And no, I don't have air conditioning. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Back shortly. Welcome back. And okay, well, I'm quite glad that we've got step 4 out of the way. Um, quite challenging. There it is there. I'll put some photos up because this camera won't do it justice trying to get a look at the detail, but you'll see in those photos just how much photo etch and the little stairways and little bits and pieces are in there. So yeah, quite challenging. So that's all of step 4 at the top there is completely done. There's one little stairway at the bottom that goes down onto the platform this sits on that I haven't put on there yet because I need it to be on that platform. And that is the next step. So moving on to step 5 is basically the base that this sits on and what looks like the base under that it will sit on top of as well. So in this, looks like a couple of cranes, and I know that there's photo etch for that. There's some guns, looks like there's some anti-aircraft guns, about 4 of them that will go on this part of the superstructure. We're working down towards the deck, the way these instructions are working. So yeah, so this will allow me to install the stairs on the bottom of this when this will actually go on top. But when this is complete, I'm not sure, step 6 seems to move on to more superstructure, I think. So, and then we get on to what looks like a turret. So it's a while before this will be attached on top of anything, which is back here in step 7. Anyway, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So now the plan will be to work on step 5. Looks like there's a few little bits that need to be removed. Red there. A little modification on the crane. The photo etch for this shows looks like it's got the cabling for the crane to go on that. I've been quickly through here. There's not much else. There's a little bit of stuff down here which I've been working on this, ticking everything off as I go. And we're getting down to some more stairways and railings. We'll get down onto the piece we're working on next. So yeah, it's coming along fine. It is certainly a challenge. Some of this photo etch is just minute, and not just the photo etch. I mean, that I've been doing okay with. It's some of the pieces, some of the little pieces on there. I'm not sure what they are, but they're tiny, absolutely tiny. But hey, I've got them on there. The glue's doing well, so I'm using my Loctite gel glue and applying it with my little needle adapted pencil here. And if that's not going to work, for instance, if I get a piece there and I want to add some more glue, then rather than adding this, I would then grab my ultra glue from MIG, and I've got a mix of this set up in here, which is, as long as I keep the cap on it, this stays usable for, well, weeks, and it's watered down. So this is a really nice fluidy, in fact I might even add a little bit more water, so I can pick up the tiniest little bit of a toothpick and just touch it where I want, just make sure everything's secure, and I know that this will dry completely crystal clear, so there'll be no sign of that glue being put there. Whereas the CA glue does leave a little bit of shininess when it dries. This leaves absolutely nothing. Now, also, I know metal etch is different, but when it comes to the plastic parts, I will use CA glue for that. In fact, I've got a smaller one here. This is the precision one, which is a very watery liquid one, and that's even easier to apply. That I'll use for the plastic parts. When it comes to glue like this sort of stuff, I started using this Revell contactor, but then I stopped using it because I just found that well, I may as well be using CA glue, like super glue that I am. So I very rarely use that. But even when I do use this stuff, when it's dried enough for the part to be touched, it's like touch dry, the part on there, I will still come along with my Mr. Cement and just touch that into place too, knowing that that will seep into the seams and capture those little, capture anything, just gives that extra bit that you know is gonna definitely lock that piece in place. Okay, so this I will delicately put in its box under step 4. See some pieces there. Now, what happened here is, unfortunately, where these photo etch pieces underneath that structure there go across, I actually lost one. In fact, actually I lost 2. So there's supposed to be 4, one on each of these that stick out. And I lost 2. I thought, oh my God. So I went down on the carpet, had a look, and then luckily I found one of them. I thought, oh, thank God, found one. The other one must be nearby somewhere. You think I could find it? Nah. The second piece is long gone. I have no idea where it went. So what I've done is I've left it off the 2 rear booms on the back there. I've got the piece I found, but I'm still missing one. If it shows up, I'll use it. If it doesn't show up, well, I'm not going to put just one on one side and leave the other side empty. There's no spares, so I'd rather just leave none on there. But, you know, I haven't given up hope. It may show up. I'm usually very lucky. In fact, I'll actually, one second, I'll grab and show you something. Okay, so I have a quite dark carpet, so that helps find little shiny pieces. Doesn't help find grey pieces of chip plastic, but shiny pieces do show up. And to help, I have this. So this is like 1,000 watts spotlight. And when I point this will just blind you for a second, but boom. So yeah, this, when that's shining down on the carpet, lights up, and you're not going to believe this. I've just spotted the piece. Hang on a second. Where do I get my tweezers? It's right where I've been looking for the last half an hour, and there it is. So here we go. Look at that, live on camera. Turn this light off. Put that in there. Now, there it is. The second piece. Unbelievable. So, oh, the camera froze. Anyway, there you go. I found it, and excellent. So I'll be able to put those 2 pieces on there now. Anyway, great. Well, okay, I'm going to call this a video. Let me just unstick the camera. Okay, so that's sorted. Now, I can't believe we found that. Just the moment I turned on my spotlight, and bang, it just shone. There it was, sparkling down there. Fantastic. All right, so this will be called a video for this part 2, and when I come back, we'll get stuck into, and I'll show you part 5 and probably on to part 6 in the next video. And hopefully I won't be dropping any more photo etch. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notifications bell so you get notified of when these videos are uploaded, which is quite often. And give us a thumbs up if you like it. and comment below. Anything you want to say, please put it in the comments. Any questions, any tips you might have, suggestions, just drop it in the comments there, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for now. Bye.